Welcome to another episode of our show. It is time to talk about Crown Jewel pay-per-view that leaves us with a good taste in our mouths. A lot of matches were to the point, quick. There were not a lot of time to drag them. I feel when the moment it was correct, then they ended the match. Paul, we had a lot of good matches here, and also the main event, the same thing that we've seen almost those 2 years with Roman Reigns.
Yeah, this show, I enjoyed it a little long, over 3 hours. So they definitely are about, eh, yeah, about like what 3.5 hours you would
Yes,
say. I would say
yes,
for
three and
this
a half.
show. So, I mean, I enjoyed it for the most part. Some of the matches, again, I say with almost every pay per view, don't really need to be on here, but it was what it was. Um, I think Triple H delivered another good show. It would have been nice for maybe some of these matches to been here in America in front of us, in front of these fans, but the fans in Saudi Arabia, you had to give it to them. They brought it today, and I think like you said, it was a pretty good show. You didn't watch this going, oh my god, I just wasted my
Yes, it didn't.
afternoon.
It
No,
didn't feel
I thought,
like back in the day. It didn't feel
yeah,
like, oh
and
my
the
god,
main
when is it
event
gonna end?
and the
So
main
family,
event
thank you so very much for
felt
being
like a
with us
main
one more
event.
time. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. We have a lot of content for you guys today. We did the previous and predictions, we did the weekend wrestling, and right here, like we promised, Crown Jewel. And this is the match that opened the show, Paul. Bobby Lashley with Brock Lesnar, a match that started out to the point. Lashley went at it, a lot of spears back to back, causing a lot of problems to Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar also hit the F5, but you could see maybe he got injured mid match. No, but he was limping for a little bit. But Bobby Lashley, the attitude was just, I'm gonna beat him, I'm gonna destroy him, and then Brock Lesnar kind of coming from the back, from behind. And what did you think about the end though? Because it was just like you said, to just preserve Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar also, because you can see in the picture right there, he had a hurtlock going on, but then he reverses it, and this is pretty much, it's been done so many times now with Bobby Lashley also.
Yeah, and I think this was a good finish because, I mean, Lesnar's over. You get him. He was selling the leg, but he comes back. Bunch of German suplexes, gets the reversal here almost. Kind of kicks off the turnbuckles, falls backwards. 1, 2, 3, gets the pin on Lashley. After the match, Lashley, he's pissed. What's going on? He chokes out Lesnar again. Lesnar sells the neck. Lashley.
So I'm injured,
This is good to prolong this feud. This is chapter one in their whole story, and they're definitely going to ride this thing till WrestleMania. So I'm excited to see this. I think they're going to have, like I said, interactions in the Royal Rumble. Probably not Survivor Series. We saw a lot of, promotion for Survivor Series, war games using war
That's
pigs.
gonna be really good, especially the song. Black
Legit
Sabbath.
stuff.
War
Yep.
Pigs. That was cool. Yes, that was really cool, like you said. And this is gonna be, they're gonna drag it all the way to WrestleMania, hopefully. So this is a good start for a pay per view. You started out hot. Started out great. Then you go, the tag team championship, like you said. Before the women, oh, they had a rivalry in Japan, Asuka and Io Sky. People in the Middle East know it. I mean, Alexa Bliss and Dakota Kai. Well, we knew about this. The match was okay. We see the big spots, always mentioned, with all the women doing a superplex and everything. But this is something that I wanted to mention to you. The symbol of Bray Wyatt, Alexa Bliss sees it, and she kind of lost focus. So are we seeing her aligning with Bray Wyatt one more time?
Well, I mean, this whole, dropping the title, switching the titles, this and that, there was even a line on commentary too. Oh, is Asuka and Alexa Bliss going to have some problems because of the lack of communication, this and that? They just won the belts. Now they lost them. And, maybe this was a short lived thing because it is going to be a feud. But, I mean, hopefully she's not going back to Bray Wyatt and that whole thing, because that was no, let's get Bray Wyatt in a new direction here. But, I mean, this match, I actually enjoyed it more than I thought I would, probably because I didn't think I would enjoy it at all. I mostly like the interaction between Io and Asuka. That was good. Dakota Kai's not bad, but I mean, Alexa Bliss is Alexa Bliss. Nikki Cross was the main thing getting involved, and allowed Damage Control to get the win. So it went a little long for my taste, especially with all the matches on the card. But especially with the hot open, Lesnar, Lashley, this was the kind of the let me up match.
No, yeah, and like you said, I mean, they made the right decision, because to me that was, they're trying to rectify something that they did wrong with Alexa Bliss and Asuka becoming champions. This girl should have just retained, but I mean, maybe that was the reason that they had the match, so they will be able to just have another match because they didn't have anything else. So, Damage Control, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky get the win. That was cool. So now let's go to like the steel cage. These matches I thought they were going to be later on in the card, but they happened to be, early on. So like this was good. And the winner, at least in this one, we said, Drew McIntyre or Karen Cross. Who do you want to win? The fashion that it was done, it was well enough to like see, hey, you know what? Maybe another match or, something like more in what is going to be War Games and Survivor Series. But what did you think? Typical, steel cage match. I enjoyed it for what it was, and Karen Cross is showing that he was ready for the main roster. Drew, I don't know if they have a lot of chemistry, but at least the straight jacket is something that is always good to see put on.
When I was watching this steel cage match, now I'm not saying that these guys are as over, as talented as anything like that, but I'm watching it and I'm thinking like Undertaker and Batista, Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
Now, not as good, not as violent, but just two big, strong men that are just beating the hell out of each other. And they are good wrestlers. Batista wasn't the greatest wrestler, but Undertaker was good. And I think Drew McIntyre is kind of like that Undertaker role. He's big, he's strong, and he's way better than you might think he is for being as big. And, Karrion Kross is kind of in that Batista role, but I actually enjoyed this again a little more than I thought I would. But I mean, when people I don't like escaping the cage, and of course that's kind of how it finished. But early on, Karrion tries to escape. Drew, no, you don't. Big like suplex, throws him off the top. That was a good spot.
Scarlett plays the factor, of course.
Eventually, when he gets taken out, he hits a claymore on him. He goes to crawl out. Scarlett, she sprays Drew. Then later on, Drew goes to climb out again. She locks the cage and is like, screw you. So Drew climbs up, and then Karrion crawls towards the door, and she tries to quick unlock it. But by the time she can unlock the door, Drew can quick climb down. So Scarlett almost cost them the match. You could look at it. So it's a way to preserve Karrion Kross, and that's why the WWF at the time, WWE now still continues. I think that's why they're the ones, if they started it, I know they used it the most. The whole escaping the cage, is a way to win. I think they did it just to preserve a guy, but
it bothers me that they also there's pinfall. That bothers me a lot because it should be just escaping.
I think escaping is stupid. The whole point of a steel cage is to keep you and me in the cage to fight. Why would escaping be...
but like for example, if they have the escaping, then don't have the pinfall, and vice versa. Just the pinfall should be like the only way. Because
I agree, but I think it should. That's like in Bizarro World that escaping the cage should be. It should have never been a rule.
It seems like more I'm running away from you rather than I want to finish you. So
which when in a match with these two guys, none of them should be running away. If this was like Bobby Lashley versus The Miz, I could see The Miz wanting to run away, but these two guys. But regardless, this match was pretty good. Like I said, maybe you're thinking towards the main event, but it was where it was on the card, and I think it was a fine spot.
Like you said, like you see Karrion Kross upset. Drew McIntyre's like, okay, I'm good, I won. So like again, one each, so they need one more to just like go and maybe move on. And after what we saw in the main event, I feel like the good thing is like now either these two guys will be the next challenger, which it could be Karrion Kross. I mean, if he wins something else, they could do something like to like end this storyline because it's good, like the feud. But again, I don't think that a lot of people are too much into it, despite how much they tried to sell you on it. Paul, this one was also like to the point. And then you said it. You said this: the OC needs a girl to be able to go toe to toe with Judgment Day. That's the main thing. It's like because it's like 4 against 3. It doesn't matter if Gallows and Anderson are there. Don't you think that's really cool though, like the presentation for the Judgment Day? I really like that. Like they're really selling you on being a really dominant group, and I enjoyed this. But in the end, good match, all of that. But Rhea Ripley plays the factor and annoys AJ Styles when he's about to do a phenomenal forearm, and they get the win with a coup de grace by Finn Balor.
Yeah, I mean, I thought all the Judgment Day looked cool. Rhea Ripley looked awesome. She had the whole like hair extensions. Yes. It was all done up, looked like Beth Phoenix. I mean, she looked awesome. I mean, I always think Rhea Ripley looks awesome, but I mean, she looked awesome here. So, and I mean, Judgment Day, they were great in this. The OC looked good in this. I mean, Gallows looked great. Anderson looked good. Again, watching them, actually seeing them in a high profile match where everybody was going out, I thought, okay, man, they all look good. But Rhea Ripley plays a factor. They said they need somebody, and the crowd was even into this a little bit. Not too much, but they were into it a little more than I thought. Maybe because it's like, oh, Gallows, Anderson. But my big takeaway here for this match is just the commentary mentioning,
The
hey,
Bullet Club.
Finn Balor started the Bullet Club. They even said, Carl Anderson's the open weight champion. And I thought maybe there'd be a little heat, brother, because, oh, I know, I'm not going to your show. I'm doing this show in Saudi Arabia. But maybe that's all storyline. Maybe that's,
remember we said that at the Weekend Wrestling. We mentioned that.
Yeah, so that's another thing to consider, maybe because, the Forbidden Door, New Japan, they didn't sign their life away to work with Tony Khan. It might not even been a contract. It could be show by show basis. They might say, okay, now we're gonna try Triple H, see how this business partner works out. So
it's probably
that's all things to maybe consider, see in the future, and that's what makes this sport exciting. But this match, the OC, they still need to get themselves a woman, whether it's Charlotte Flair, Mia Yim. We're still hearing reports of her. She's supposed to be starting any day now in WWE. Maybe she'll debut on Monday Night Raw in the next coming days. But this match was pretty good as well. And like you said, Finn Balor, coup de grace, gets the win with the assist.
Dominic also looked decent. You know, a few spots they were like sloppy with like Anderson, because Anderson was trying to do the double chokeslam powerbomb. Dominic didn't sell it quick enough. But regardless of that, Judgment Day gets the win. Everything is happy with them. This was just stupid. This match, you know, the monsters of the biggest monster or the world monsters. They was just dumb. You know, Omos just overpowers like Strowman for the whole entirety of the match, but Strowman then, you know, of course, does the power slam, and that's it. Tail of the tape, or you see like how much height, how much in power like Omos is better. You know, what do you think of this? Because this was just for me like the worst match of the night, which we thought it was going to be. They've tried this before,
I gotta be honest with you, I didn't hate it as much, I guess, as you
as
would
I'm
be. Because the whole time I thought, okay, Omos is showing a little bit of personality. He's like, yeah, I'm the monster. You know, you're bullshit. He's slapping him around, making fun of him. And I'm thinking, okay, he's not putting him away. Or when he does go for a pin, he takes forever and he just puts the foot on the chest. You're not going to pin Braun Strowman with a foot on the chest. I don't care how big you are. They're not going to bury Strowman like that. You're going to have to get down there, hook the leg for the 1, 2, 3. So, Strowman, he keeps kicking out, keeps fighting back. Like you said, he does the choo-choo, but then he runs, boom. But Omos stops the choo-choo to train. He goes around the tracks, and then Omos stops him, boom. Screw you. That shit don't work on me. And you think Omos is going to win. But like you said, Strowman just hits that one big slam, and that's all it takes. And I like it because Strowman gets the win now. They can both go back. This feud's going to continue. Because MVP is going to say, you had him, you were being cocky, you were being bullshit, you should have went for the pin, hooked the leg. Why don't you listen to Jean Paul? What are you doing? And you're not Logan Paul, not Jake Paul, but John Paul. Listen to him, hook the leg, and you would have got the win. And at least Omos showed some kind of charisma.
A little bit. That's at least the crowd.
That's at least something.
He was playing with the crowd.
And taunting Strowman. I mean, it was all right, but I mean, but it was, it definitely was the worst match. It definitely was the worst match.
To me, kind of because it was so
a little
quick,
better than I thought.
2 minutes, one move,
but that's
and done.
Fine. It needed to be quick because the guys can't wrestle. It was fine. That's why I think I liked it, because they didn't lock up. They didn't try to wrestle
because they probably can't.
Because they can't.
You're right.
So that's why I think it was
for
better
me was like kind of like something that not that great, but like let's talk about something that it was great. The Undisputed Tag Team Championship match. The Usos going against Rich Holland and Butch, or AKA Pete Dunne. Great match. A lot of times, like the Rich Holland and Butch had the opportunity to get the win. The Usos were able to like stop that, because the main story, you already mentioned this at the Weekend Wrestling, that the New Day is going to go against them. That's a classic in tag team in WWE. and also because they want to like they don't want to lose the record. Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston, but here a lot of opportunities for the Usos, also for Holland and Pete Dunne. You see that like they gave us a great showing, but in the end, Paul, 1D from the top rope, super good move. Of course, the Dudleys, they have to call it that, and they retain the championships, which I like. And then right there you can see that like they're gonna go with the New Day, so they're selling that more than when they have the match itself.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that, like I said yesterday, I was like, as soon as Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods came out, I walked out of the room. I was like, I can't. These guys are so I can't stand them. They're awful when they come on TV. And we did forget to mention, or maybe we did mention it, and it just slipped my mind. But they are having this match. They said we're gonna face whoever wins. On Friday. So
Yes.
of course it was gonna be the Usos, and it makes sense because they said, oh, in 9 days. So I think when they comes up, that's a week from now. They'll still be 1 or 2 days that the New Day will have. So this matchup on Friday, if they beat them, they'll still stop the Usos from beating
Being the
their
new,
record,
yeah, the record
longest
holders.
reigning
Yes.
tag champs. So
Yes.
with that whole thing being announced or teased, you almost knew that the Usos were going to win here. There was no
Yes.
doubt in anybody's mind, if there was even a doubt beforehand. But with all that being said, this match was still really good. I enjoyed it. I'm glad they're still doing something with Pete Dunne and Ridge Holland, but you'd like to see these guys, and that's the one thing. Eventually, hopefully, at this WrestleMania, the whole bloodline thing kind of, I don't want to
They
say
need to see us split at
dissolves,
some point. Yes.
but you
Yes.
need to get the title off Roman, and you need to get the tag titles off the Usos at some point. They can't hold it forever because it's like, what the hell what do all these people
Exactly, and also it
fight
takes
for?
away it takes away the expectation. It takes away like
Yeah.
the joy of doing, because in the end they're gonna win. So like, if they will do this with the New Day, I will feel even more pissed off, because out of the two,
Mhm.
I will pick the Usos any other any
And
any
then the
time of
only
the day. But,
reason you complain, and it's people, oh well, nobody complained when Bruno and these guys were the champs for over 1,000 days, but back then people thought they were fighting for real. We all know now that it's predetermined. So it's like, well, you
yes,
can write a good story where the title changes hands, and it is
exactly.
makes sense.
Exactly. So like that's what the thing, and let's go to the next match, because this was again, this we're gonna see on Friday night. We will be talking about that next Friday. For whoever, please the Usos get the win. Uso Penitentiary. Can you please win? I don't want to see the New Day like tag team champions for like the 13, 14th time. I don't care for that. Might as well I might just see Edge and Christian or the Hardy Boys, whatever there's left of them. But we'll go to the girls. There's the second match of the night that involved women, and that's Bailey with Bianca Belair. This is all for Jean Paul. This is all he's gonna do all the talking, because Bailey came out, in white pants and all of that. So he was excited about that. Of course, we all were. But despite of that, another good idea, another stipulation match for them. But in the end, Bianca Belair gets the win. It still leaves you with that. Is like, okay, she overcomes everything, which is good as a babyface. But like, can Bailey become the champion? She's healed. She can do more with that. At least for me. What do you think?
I mean, a last man standing match is going to be a long match, because obviously you need to beat down your opponent, or at least do something that they're so weak, or tied up or whatever, that they can't stand up for the count of 10. And this match was long. It was sloppy at some points. There was two
It was.
spots where I thought, okay, Bailey was going to be hurt. One of them was a work. They got me. They got everybody. The second one wasn't a work, and she could have actually really been hurt. And I said in the weekend review, she's the star. She's the stud of the whole women's division right now. You can't afford hurting her, whether she is your Raw Women's Champ or not. I'm fine with them running with Bianca Belair, because you look at Bianca, you go, okay, the in-ring work, just, looking at her physically. And the promo, she's not bad. Promo's the weakest aspect, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
You can't blame her for being the champ, because she passes the eye test of, she looks good in the ring, and she looks good as a wrestler, as an
Yes.
athlete. So you can't blame them there. And she's over. The people like her. That's the main thing too. It's
We,
not
we
like
saw
the people
candlesticks. We
boo.
saw this like
The
thing of the
people like
card
her,
and
but
everything. So they
but
give
yeah,
you
I mean
other things.
they beat the hell out of each other. Lots of stuff. But the two spots, they were fighting on the stage. Like you said, she's chasing her with the kendo stick, beating the shit out of her, wearing her out with the kendo stick. They're walking. Bailey kind of falls off the ramp. There's a little bit of a space, maybe a foot or half a foot in between the ramp and the guardrail. Bailey kind of falls in there and is like, oh, so I'm done. The ref checks on her. He tells Bianca, let her go, hold on, for maybe about 20-30 seconds or so. Like, oh, hold on. Then Bailey jumps up and attacks her, and you go, okay, Bailey's good. That was just like a work spot. But then later on, then she gets a golf cart and she's chasing her and that, and Bailey's on top, and it's what the hell is going on? Then it goes into comedy land. I was waiting for them to bring out a camel, like when Matt Riddle rode the camel.
Yeah.
Like, what the
hell's
going on?
Like a year ago or something.
I mean, so then she rides the golf cart. She's holding on to Bianca's hair, and she threw Bianca in a box earlier that Bianca got out of. Like I said, it was just all over the place. It was too long. I was starting to lose interest. And then she has the spot where she's holding on to Bianca's hair. Bianca kind of flips her, and she's supposed to put Bailey through the table at this spot. Completely long shots because, like I said, Bianca's, I guess, too strong for her own good. Threw Bailey way past the table, and she hit her right into the freaking apron in the ring, right? Splat, just done. Bailey collapsed on the floor like a dead body. The ref goes over to her, you all right, Bailey? Okay, I'm good. And it's like, Jesus, she could have anything. That could have been head, arm. Bailey could have hit anything on there. A wild, crazy spot after you're so exhausted like that. Especially to even go through a table. Even going through the table wasn't safe. And then know what she did? What Bailey was, no, I'm good. Bianca, okay, legit power bomb through the table then. So, oh my God, you know what I'm saying? It's like, again, this is your star. You're going to kill her in this match in Saudi Arabia, and she don't even become the champ. That's the worst part.
That's the part that pissed me off.
So, like I said, I mean, I don't hate it. I said I don't hate it, but, she takes Bailey, kind of puts her in the ladder, and just kind of
KOD she did first, I think. That's what it was. And then she put in between the ladder.
And then Bailey can't get up. Oh, I'm done. I think it's because, it was the ladder was sandwiched under the turnbuckle.
Yes.
And you think, well, why couldn't Bailey just lift it up a little bit and roll out? Well, the cake was too fat, so it was keeping her wedged in there.
Yeah, always.
And she was stuck. So, I mean, hey, that's how she wins. And it's something where Saudi Arabia, besides, I think, the main event, the Logan Paul match, you're not going to do a blow-off match here. It's either going to continue the feud or it's going to start a feud or it's something like that because, this is just really a giant house show. You can almost say it's like a pay-per-view house show where they're not going to do anything monumental here. That's not going to continue on. So I don't even think this is the end of this feud. I think they're going to continue the Bailey and Bianca feud.
No, yeah, I hope that. I mean, that there was one thing also to mention, like Sasha Banks and Naomi, they're back in the intro when they, they start the pay-per-views and when they start the shows, and they took away Ric Flair. I mean, whoever, Nature Boy last match, who gives a fuck? But, like here, maybe Sasha will be next. Maybe she, comes back and maybe they start feuding again, and maybe that's where she drops the belt. Because, I mean, Bailey's trying, but, like when is she going to do it? That's the thing, and, like, I agree with you. The match was okay. But again, they need to end it in like a stupid note for me. Can they just keep it more wrestling related? But I don't know. In the end, Bianca Belair retains the championship. We mentioned that Bray Wyatt was going to be proud of the show. And, he comes out and, again, no match. But again, Bray just showing, hey, my name is Bray Wyatt. I belong to like a family of lineage of, successful, but being great was never enough. All those stories. What do you think about this? Because again, you see the struggle of personalities. That's the main thing right here. That's the tale of like the story is that like he's just has two personalities that are conflicted with each other. And then, Uncle Howdy just say, like take off the mask unless you don't want me to reveal everything. And, like the story is okay. But again, we need to see matches because the guy's just becoming more just a talker. And, we want to see feuds with Bray Wyatt. At least that's what I can think. What do you think about the whole promo?
The only thing we say is Code Orange released the song on Spotify already. What are you doing? Let's go, okay? Because I'm sick of listening to it on YouTube. Shitty quality with the crowd cheering. This theme is awesome. We want to hear it. But
yes,
I mean, good. This is Bray Wyatt. Who's Uncle Howdy? Is it gonna be himself? Is it gonna be Bo Dallas? Who is it gonna be? What's it gonna be? I don't like. It should be he comes in, he cuts a promo. His first two promos were fine. Maybe tease Uncle Howdy a little bit. Let Bray Wyatt have a couple matches, beating guys, okay? Nothing that sticks, just matches, random
Sister
matches,
Abigail, and done.
exhibitions. Yeah, whatever. Then Uncle Howdy can start appearing a little bit more, like when Randy Orton, or when the Undertaker was haunting Randy Orton. Oh, I see him in the mirror in the locker room, or
That was
oh,
cool,
he,
yes.
this shit like that. You lead it into that. They're going all in on the goofy, gimmick, spooky Uncle Howdy thing. And it's like, this is the Fiend. It's the same thing all over again. It's
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt. Oh, Vince did the whole gimmick and it wasn't what I wanted it to be, and this and that. And you thought, okay, maybe it'll be a little bit more realistic, this and that. No, it still seems like a cheesy horror movie. I mean, I'm still intrigued. I still am positive towards it. I don't hate it. But, this didn't really do anything for me. This didn't continue the Bray Wyatt thing. I want to see him wrestle. We didn't see him wrestle enough.
We don't
Last
even know,
time
who's going to be the first contender against him.
Yeah, there's not. It's more confusing, and it's one of the things I said a couple weeks ago. Oh, it's intriguing, and you want to hear more. That can only go on so long before it's not intriguing, and then it's just confusing, and I don't care.
No, exactly. So that was not great. And again, we need to see something more from that. We need to see matches. We need to see who's going to go against Bray Wyatt.
Or let Uncle Howdy appear in the ring in front of Bray Wyatt, so then I can go, okay, at least it's not Bray Wyatt. At least I know he won't be having a fucking Ethan Page match where I wrestle myself on a green screen like a goof. Okay, he's like, oh, at least he'll be wrestling another human being that is not himself. And
it's not going to be Daniel's son. Yes.
Yeah, then it'll
we
be
don't
fine.
Remember, it's on the archives. We did that Bound for Glory when Ethan Page fought himself. But like you said, this needs to improve, because it's great when he came back. It's good, but it's been over a month, and no, we don't want to keep seeing this anymore. So Paul, like you mentioned a few minutes ago, Survivor Series War Games. They actually mentioned that. It's going to be called Survivor Series War Games. It's going to be on Saturday, November 26th. We'll be doing this also, of course. And, it's cool that like they mix both worlds. War Games, remember, that used to be casually part of like NXT. Now they're not anymore. And now it's going to be incorporating War Games. So this is a good idea from Triple H. Now, who's going to be inside War Games is going to be really interesting to find out. So this is cool.
And the one thing, if this was WWE, this would have been some fucking Ariana Grande or The Weeknd or some bullshit song that I shouldn't say nobody cares, no wrestling fan
younger generation
cares about.
Pop culture.
Yeah, it's Triple H that goes, no, give me Metallica, give me AC/DC, give me Led
Black
Zeppelin,
Sabbath, give me Ozzy,
give me Black Sabbath,
give me
legit music. So I mean, great music choice here. I'm excited for this. Whether you're gonna see it's the Bloodline versus the Brawling Brutes, whoever you're gonna see, whatever the War Games matchup's gonna be, I'm excited for it.
And if you see Paul in the picture, right, you see the Raw against SmackDown still. You see, like, they're gonna be against each other.
Well, I think maybe there'll be two. There might be a War Games match, and there might be a normal Survivor Series match. So the War Games match could be, the Raw versus SmackDown, or the Bloodline versus whoever, and then the Survivor Series could just be the normal match.
But see, that's cool though, because you keep the concept and also you incorporate something else. It's gonna be a great step, so I'm excited to like this. This is gonna be good. Let's talk about the main event, because Logan Paul against Roman Reigns. The War Wars was good, of course. Also in the press conference, they had a lot of like good stuff, and the match wasn't really that bad. Logan Paul is showing that like he's been training with Shawn Michaels, he's been training also with Drew Gulak, so he was able to give us a good match. And in the end, we see the same things as all the time. The Usos make, like an appearance, all of that. And Paul, like, you're not related to Logan Paul and like Jake Paul, right?
No.
Let's clear that out of the air. You're a different type of Paul.
Oh, I can clear. Unfortunately, I can clear that and say no, because if I was, I would definitely be, cashing in on some of their money.
Or an honorary Paul, right?
Yeah, or like an honorary Uzi,
Or Paulie.
You're not feeling very Paulie right now, but no.
But your thoughts on the match?
This was a good main event. Like I said, this match, you wouldn't do a WrestleMania with this, because Logan Paul isn't a wrestler. Even though he's good, he has the charisma. I'm not saying I want to see him each and every week, because I don't, but this was fine. I had no problems with this. He held his own in there. Roman, he was dominant first. But Logan Paul kept hanging in there, kept hanging in there. Boom, he hits the big punch, rocks him. He does, and Logan Paul does all his moves. The blockbuster off the top, and he
That was
did the
good.
frog. Then he did the frog splash through the announce table again.
A few Superman punches.
All the spots. Yeah, like you said, he hit that punch. Roman sold the punch. Oh, my jaw. He's holding the jaw. He's selling the punch. The Usos come out. Roman, are you all right? Are you all right, Us? Then you have Jake Paul comes out. He attacks. Then Solo comes
The part
out.
when he took the phone, Paul, sorry if I'm interrupting, I thought it was a regular fan. Because like the whole time I'm thinking the guy's like even the phone, and the guy who like actually sold it is like, oh, my phone. I didn't know that. So that was cool. For me, that I enjoy that. But go again.
Yeah,
kids.
Like you said, his entourage comes. The thing I didn't like, and of course the ref's not going to go, oh, DQ, and then everybody, so, they're not going to end it bullshit like that. But the Usos, they dragged Logan Paul's entourage in the ring, and they're like fucking super kicking them and beating it in the middle of the ring, and the ref is just standing there like, well, look, okay.
Like, whatever, And then for me, Solo Sikoa coming out also, like, why?
Yeah, I mean, do all that stuff on the outside, and you know what? The Solo Sikoa thing, it all led into the ending, which you could blame Logan Paul for, because Jake Paul's out there, the Usos come out, then Logan Paul goes to protect his brother, does a big dive, takes both the Usos out, and then he rolls. Jake Paul helps him up, hypes his brother up, get back in the ring, go get him. He rolls back in the ring, right in the waiting arms of Roman Reigns. Boom, Superman punch, ooh-ah. And you know what? As much as the crowd, they were cheering for Logan Paul, when he was hitting the moves, they were up, they were cheering for him. The crowd knew it was time to go home. As soon as Roman punched the ground, the whole stadium, ooh-ah, because they know Absolutely. They want Roman to, even though they were cheering for Logan Paul, they want Roman to win. They all do it. They ooh-ah, they want him to win. So Roman's over. Nobody wanted, anything different. Spear, 1, 2, 3, the bloodline, we still the ones.
So,
they walk out there.
We need Jean Paul in the middle of that, all the Pauls right there. Like that they're disappointed and everything, but pretty much they're going to offer a contract to Jake Paul also. That's what everybody's saying. They're going to be both of them, part of the WWE. I mean, they bring a lot of crowd. Even Roman said in the promo.
If you want to have something with them on SummerSlam, do a tag match with them and two guys who can really work and make these
Maybe
guys
the
look
Usos
like
will be
studs.
good, brothers against brothers,
Something like that you could do, like I said, for a SummerSlam. Or you want to have one of them be in the Royal Rumble, maybe throw out a jobber or two, getting a little scrum here and there, lead to a WrestleMania match. Big cards. You can't have these guys be on Monday Night Raw each and every week, because it won't work. And two, you're taking a spot away from, somebody else.
For people that actually deserve it, like you said. So, to conclude, it was a pretty decent show. Triple H, every single time that he's been able to run a pay-per-view, it's not bad anymore. At least they give us something. Roman Reigns, of course, winning is what they're going to keep doing, unless there's somebody like you said, like a Cody, like somebody that is like different, like The Rock, maybe. We don't know yet. Or maybe Bray Wyatt will be next finally. Karrion Kross could be another possibility. So that's really cool, but in the end, at least Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar are going to continue, having those situations with them. So we'll see what happens later.
Yeah, this show, there's a lot of good stuff coming out of it. I don't think anybody is gonna watch this show and go, this was the drizzling shits, this sucked. No. I mean, yeah, you can say, oh, the women's tag match wasn't good. Omos and Braun Strowman was the absolute worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, okay, you can make those arguments, but Lashley and Lesnar, Logan Paul and Roman Reigns, the Usos and the Brawling Brutes, Karrion Kross, Drew McIntyre, even Bayley and Bianca to a certain extent. Lots of good stuff here on this show. And, I'm excited to see what Triple H does, especially leading into War Games, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble.
And we will be
WrestleMania,
talking
everything
about all of
else.
that, family. So, be with us for that. And, as you guys can see right there in the TV that we have, we got to pay a little bit more money to get like a better version of the TV. But, we're like, that's when you come in, because all of you have to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, all of that, help us out with comments, with likes. The channel keeps benefiting for that. Right there is Paul. You just say the social media waves, they're right there in the screen.
Yeah, that's Rope Break on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, Twitch, and TikTok, and of course right here on YouTube, the home of the #1 podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, the Original Rope Break.
And you and me have one more thing that is left to say, and that is...